John Garrity, is a Scottish structural engineer living in Atlanta, Georgia. He returns home from work to reconcile with his wife Allison and their diabetic son Nathan. John returns early from work to prepare for hosting a party with their neighbors to watch television. Allison tells him to bring some wines and beers. Arriving at a grocery store, John and Nathan notice a fleet of military cargo transport and jets flying north. In the store, John receives a strange automated phone call, informing him that he and his family have been pre-selected for emergency sheltering. Worried by this, John rushes home and sees several military trucks passing by on the road. He joins with everyone just as a comet fragment enters the atmosphere on live television. A comet fragment just hit the Earth, and they feel the earthquake. John ran outside to check, then a shockwave rattles the area and blows out windows as the fragment hits. John once again receives a presidential automated call, which is also displayed on the television in front of his family and neighbors. Neighbors are scared that only John receives that call and no one else. The call instructs them to be at Robins Air Force Base to catch an evacuation flight. When they are leaving, one of their neighbors named Deborah desperately begs to take her daughter with them to be saved. But John refuses, knowing she would be turned away from the base. At Robins Air Force Base, many of them are not selected for sheltering. John's family is allowed in with the QR code on his phone. Upon entering the base, they are given wristbands as their personal identity. Accidentally leaving Nathan's insulin in the car, John hurries back to retrieve it. Meanwhile, soldiers notice that Nathan is sick, so they take him to the general office where they inform them that sick people are not allowed on the plane. Allison asks for her husband. She is told to call him, but phones are not allowed. John is inside the plane when another passenger confronts him about the medicine and learns that his family was turned away too. John demands to be let off the plane. At the same time, an angry citizen also wants to be saved. A gunfight breaks out, inadvertently blowing up many of the evacuation planes and killing dozens while John narrowly escapes. After returning to their car, he finds a note left by Allison that she and Nathan are heading to her father's house in Lexington, Kentucky. Allison and Nathan are picked up by a couple who are also headed that way. Ralph tells them they will take them as far as Knoxville. Meanwhile, John manages to hitch a ride on a truck with other survivors, where he learns through a young man named Colin that the military is flying to bunkers in Greenland for refuge. Through conversation, Ralph and Judy find out Allison and Nathan were selected for evacuation. Ralph pulls over to kick Allison out as well as take her wristband and kidnap Nathan. On the other hand, another survivor notices John's wristband and attempts to fight him for it. The chaos results in the truck nearly crashing, which kills Colin, and John beats them all. Meanwhile, Ralph, Judy, and Nathan later arrive at a FEMA camp, where they attempt to pass as Nathan's parents. However, Nathan tells the soldier they are not his parents. The soldier arrests them and gives Nathan hospitality. Allison eventually ends up at the same camp. She runs into the medical camp, where a man helps her look for Nathan, and she finds him. A nurse helps her with giving insulin and test strips, and also arranges a military bus heading to Lexington. Allison is so relieved. John breaks into a stranger's house to eat something. He turns on a TV to see various news reports of worldwide destruction. After searching, he finds a car key. He looks for that car and reaches the home of his father-in-law. He is more worried knowing that his wife is not there. Meanwhile, a military bus drops Allison and Nathan off in front of a grocery shop, and she calls the house. John and her father, Dale, pick her up and then return to his house. John recalls some information from Colin. He believes he should take a flight to Canada to reach Greenland. Allison agrees with him. While John is talking with Dale, suddenly a shockwave scares them all, and they run to find their son Nathan crying under the table. After saying goodbye to Dale, they continue in his truck. They arrive in upstate New York when an emergency alert warns them about molten debris threatening the area. Small fireballs rain from the sky, destroying cars and helicopters as people scramble to escape. John manages to drive and take shelter under a bridge. He sees a man burning inside a car, and John helps him out. After a moment, they leave much of the area on fire, but allow the family to continue to Canada, as it is revealed that Clark's largest fragment will impact 70% of Western Europe. John drives onto the runway as the plane is about to take off, and an angered pilot argues that the plane is full and cannot take any more passengers, but later the pilot agrees to take John's family. After some hours, the plane approaches Greenland. However, another fragment strikes off the coast, and the subsequent shockwave causes the plane to crash land into a valley. The pilots are dead. After John leads his family and the survivors to the nearby airbase, soldiers take all of them into the bunker. Nathan was afraid so much. The group of Clark enters the Earth, and the impact of that wave feels like a big earthquake. 9 months later, the Greenland base makes radio contact with other survivors, as various cities are shown in total ruin. The bunker doors are open, allowing John's family and others to step outside. There is joy upon seeing a pair of birds flying around as they exit the base.